have to do to
And I tell you
put on
what, man,
screen.
when he does Raiden's fly across the screen and
Oh
you hear
yeah,
that, "Yabba
yeah.
it's awful.
It is. It
Uh,
is.
I don't know. Sindel is sort of this lifeless actor. I mean, I really wish I liked it. I wish this movie was. You know how this is? We talked about this briefly in our last podcast, but like, I think if this movie would have been 0% received on Rotten Tomatoes, it would be more fondly remembered.
Probably, yeah.
But the fact that it's 2% makes people be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Where were those three guys who, enjoyed this movie, or three girls, or whoever it was, these three reviewers, critics, who
Yes.
had something good to say about it?
It should be noted that in this movie, we do get Tony Jaa as Robin Show's stunt double, which is amazing that he wasn't in this movie. Let's see. What else is there to say about this movie?
I mean, we can talk a little about Leonetti, too. I mean...
Yeah, let's talk about him. I mean, he directs, and then he brings in his brother to be the cinematographer.
Right.
But talk to me about Leonetti, Marcus.
I mean, he's done a lot of fun stuff. I mean,
he has
as a cinematographer, but I mean, as a director, he's done a couple of fun things. I mean, I think cinematographer, the biggest ones, like, I mean, in my mind, you have the Scorpion King, you have The Mask, you have
Child's Play 3.
Child's Play 3. You have Piranha 3D, which is a great flick. It's fun.
Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah, Insidious.
And
then director, he did Annabelle in 2014.
Big hit, like a true,
Yeah.
So, good for him. I wish there was here's something I wish. I wish there was a book that was done interview style with everyone who was a part of this production and tells and goes over just like why this is awful.
That's what I've thought about too, is not just maybe for bad movies, but like sports. I wish after a month, if your movie scored so low, like a certain percentile, you had to do your cast had to do an interview with the media as far as what the hell happened out there that day.
Yeah.
Kind of
what? Yes. What the hell happened? What? Yeah. Surely you must have just been making this movie and then at times just been like, oh God.
That's how I picture every day on set of this movie would be.
It must have been hell going to work.
Just taking little things of Fireball like we're drinking now and just like, well, let's just get this done with.
$30 million. And if I'm a producer and I do the big screening where they're like, here's where we're at right now, I'm like, hey, what'd you do with my money? What'd you do with the other $29 million?
Well, here's our daily. Why did you just kill Rain with a hammer and he didn't even do anything? Like what?
Yes,
what's going on?
Like you said, there was a lot of fun. You get Baraka.
Get Baraka at the end, which is cool. Yeah.
What's a terrible mask?
It was.
Did you read that they were trying to get Stallone?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
To play Baraka?
Yeah.
What are you?
Just think about what the budget would have been if it was $30 million. Just that, like the budget would have been, it would have had to been like $75 million probably, or somewhere around $50 million or something.
Or they just would have given Stallone $12 million, and then the final fight wouldn't have been CGI'd at all. They would have been in costumes,
sure,
as giant dragons or something like that. Nightwolf. They wanted him to have Pearl Jam shirt on. Did you read about that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is very strange. Fun thing about Johnny Cage, his name is Chris Conrad. He was a legit actor. His early movie roles included Airborne.
Yeah, baby.
The Next Karate Kid. I don't know who he was in Airborne. I haven't been able to really... Oh, he was Jack in Airborne. Who the hell's Jack? Oh... He was the bully.
Oh, he was the brother of the girl that he liked?
He was the brother of the girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation was worth that for me. Just figuring that out.
Yeah.
I wish Mortal Kombat Annihilation was airborne. So there, Shao Kahn in this movie. Let's talk about him briefly.
Shao Kahn was Brian Thompson.
He is terrible in this movie.
Terrible. He's in some. I mean, he's like a guy who you've seen in a lot of movies too, and it's just It's just he's an actor. He's a good actor, and it's just horrible.
I don't know how he did this because this. I mean, granted, he doesn't have anything to work with. The script is terrible. He's supposed to be a dictator, I'm sure, but maybe the same could be said about Raul Julia and Bison. But other than like the woman who plays Princess Katana, he's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, we could say Raul Julia, but Raul Julia, like, even though he was stricken with cancer and he was going to work every day, and you could tell he was trying to act that thing, and do what he needed to do.
You're absolutely correct.
But like, I'm going to give him. It just seemed like Thompson didn't want to be there too. It's a little.
Yeah. He played the lead villain in Cobra.
Yeah, he was in Lionheart. He was the second hand kind of to the boss lady.
That's right.
Yeah,
man, Lionheart. What a wonderful movie.
He was in The Order. Remember with Jean-Claude Van Damme? He was in
The Order as well. Yes, good for him.
Yeah.
There's not much more to talk about in this movie. One thing I do want to talk about that really made me laugh out loud that I had forgotten was the way in which they transported in those balls.
Yes. Oh my god.
Why the hell is that even in the movie?
I get and it's just the whole we're about to go through an interchange. Hold on, and it's just like lean right, and it's I don't know like where these things are. Who thought of that?
You are in a world in which you've established that people can just disappear and teleport into other worlds. Why do we have to sit through you going through this
transit system of
We've used the heat and put it through tunnels, and it's just the weirdest and most awkward thing ever.
I love when Raiden gets in at first, and he's just like, woo, kind of thing. Then it's just like Liu Kang is just sitting there with Katana, like, okay, well, here we go.
Guess we're doing this. Maybe that's when Robin was like, what the hell, man? Yeah. There goes my movies. No one's going to hire me for anything after this. The hell is this? Yeah. That was a very strange moment to me. And the next thing was Sonya Blade versus the woman with the size. What's her name?
Oh, Shiva? Or not Shiva, but wait, the four-armed or
no, the when
Melina.
She fights
Melina.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. She fights Melina in this mud pit.
Yeah.
She gets drenched in mud.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "We better find a river." And the next time you see her, she is spotless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing. She found a dry cleaner too because her clothes, her hair looks incredible. It's like it's been a week.
Yeah, it has. It's like she's had a nice few meals between, and
you couldn't just give her like a dirty shirt. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
Did that stick out to you? I mean,
it didn't stick out, but I think it was immediately like, oh, that's weird. Like she was just in a mud pit and just covered.
Yeah. Oh man, that's something that could easily be fixed and dealt with. That they let slide, and it's just another thing to like take you out of everything.
Right.
And I feel like there's a lot of moments in that. So we went over the body count for this movie, which was 21. You may have researched this, but let's go over the flip count.
Ooh, I didn't research this.
Did you notice how many fucking... I mean, if you want to flip off something, they do it in this... Every character flips off something in this movie. I want you to guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I want you to guess. Front flips, side flips, and back flips included. How many flips are done in this movie?
Oh, man. I would say 28.
54.
54 flips.
When you go back and watch this movie again, which I don't know why you would ever need to, but whoever does, once you think about the fact that there's so many flips, you can't unsee it. There's people just stepping down off a ledge, just like, and you're like, all right, dude, just come on.
Yeah.
The worst fight scene of all is the Raiden Shao Kahn fight scene.
Right, I agree. Yeah,
because we get to see Raiden's fly. The first time we see Raiden in his new outfit, he flips down from the temple.
Yeah, yep. He's got the nice '90s bleached hair and short cut. Yeah.
No, look. What do you think? And I guess anything else you want to touch on before we move on?
I mean, not really. I mean, I'm sure we could pick this apart, but I don't want to beat a movie. When we have glory waiting in its wings in a couple of days too, that I'm excited about. But yeah, I mean, we know it's a bad movie, and again, part of me feels like it had to be made into a bad. I feel like it was a necessity.
Yeah.
This was a godsend, actually. When you look,
when we look back in hindsight, perhaps we're thankful. I think what made me dislike this movie so much was because it was something I was very much looking for. You're like, this is going to be great. And
when you see a video game like Mortal Kombat or an arcade game taking the trajectory in itself that it had in the 90s, 1, 2, 3, just one being bigger, pretty much until 4, when it started getting a little weird with 3D or 4D or whatever it is. Not 3D,
I remember that.
But then, you think they have to have so much money. Like, how can this miss?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also just fails in that they can't make our movies. It's hard. I understand that. What Mortal Kombat is the violence, and when you can't do that, you're handcuffed a little bit into what you can do. But also in that same sense, where does 30 million go if it's not going into the graphic violence that you could portray with that budget? Where is that 30 million going, man?
Let me tell you something. Spend your 10 million and then put the 20 million. Take all that fucking money and put it into the final fight scene. Because let's talk about the boss fight. And what an awful boss fight we get, Marcus.
It's boring, man. It's boring.
It's boring. It's poorly done. It's the whole movie looks like the lens was had I don't know. The cinematography, the color palette of this movie looks like a nightclub from the 90s had sex with a 1970s television. And the color from that.
Right.
And you get this strange haze over it at all times. And then not only that do you have to deal with, and the final fight scene's all dark, you have to deal with the fact that it's all CGI pretty much, and everyone's using their animalities, which was a big thing in Mortal Kombat at that time, which I loved. I loved animalities.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, there's not really any heart to it. It's just like, it was like this filming took place what am I trying to say, in a chronological timeline, kind of, with everything being shot first. It's just like, you could just feel like they were at this last fight and they're just like, let's just get this fucking thing wrapped, like, kind of thing, and do this. And it was just, it's so boring in that.
And my sister was like, were the effects just this bad in 98? And I was like, no. No. It's just this movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like that monster that eats people that Shao Kahn likes so much, that Jax has to fight off with his arms,
Yeah.
It's
Kintaro. We didn't even touch on Kintaro, the half man, half, whatever horse thing. Just him standing around like a jackass all day.
He does. He looks like a complete doofus the whole movie. Poor guy. I'm sure he was so excited. And he probably he's like, oh, let me play the video game. See what? Oh, I'm playing this guy. Oh my god. And then you take your kids or whatever to see this movie, and you're like, oh Jesus. Yeah, everyone looked bad. No one looks good in this movie except the heroes. And the new Sonya, she's not very good. Poor woman.
Yeah.
And Liu Kang's fine for what he does. He looks great. He fights well. But this movie leaves everything to be